Hey guys, what's going on today? Thanks for joining me again at Epic Fox. I wanted to show you a DBA army, another one. This is one that I've had completed for a very long time, actually. It was one of the first DBA armies I've done, and it was actually one of the first 15 millimeter projects I did as well. I finished it up, I want to say about 2 years ago, I completed this army and it was actually made for my son. He was a big fan of the mounted forces, the knights, and the late Dark Age, early medieval period sort of genre. So he's really into that stuff. So I figured at that point in time, I was trying to get him into some more involved and in-depth wargaming using DBA, and I wanted him to have forces that he wanted to play and enjoy. So this is what I ended up making for him. It is entirely composed of Donington miniatures, and it's probably not the best sort of miniature to go about if you're new to 15 millimeter or new to, you know, miniature modeling in general. They are very detailed miniatures and they require drilling of the hands to insert the spears and lances. So it can be rather arduous if you are not an adept or capable modeler. So I would recommend, if you are new to wargaming, new to miniature modeling, start off with another manufacturer such as Essex or, one of the countless others, Peter Pig. There's limitless, there's countless manufacturers out there that you can use. Anyway, down here to the Normans, before we take a close-up look at the Normans, I'm going to go ahead and read you off the army list here. Now, this is Book 3, List 52, and this list can depict either a Western Frankish army or a Norman army. And the list covers the armies of the West Frankish kingdoms as it evolved into the Kingdom of France. It includes Norman armies from their adoption of the Frankish feudal system circa 1923 until the completion of their conquest of England and the organization of the Sicilian Norman state. Millites was the contemporary name for the upper class horseman with acorn shaped helmet, elbow and thigh length hooded mail shirt, long kite shield, light lance, and heavy sword, familiar from the Bayeux tapestry, and who would soon be termed knights. When invading England in 1066, many of the Millites could not be accompanied on their ships by horses, so instead provided the mailed Norman foot mentioned by earlier written sources. And it also cites the sources there, which I won't go over. But this list, it does allow you some options. As you can see, I have well over 12 elements down below in front of us. And you can have one general, which is a 3 knight element. You can have 3 millites, which are 3 knights. You can have another 3 millites, 3 knights, or 4 blades. So you have the choice there. You can either have an additional 3 mounted knights or 3 4 blade foot units. You can also take another 2 millites, which can be another 3 mounted knights. Or you can take a cav, a Breton cav. So you can do two of those, which I have the options for down there as well. You can take 2 archers, which are 3 bow, they're heavy bow, or spearmen. So you can take 2 spearmen units instead, or you can take Sicilian Greeks, which are 3 ox. Those are the only elements that are not represented down below us. Those are the only options I do not have is the Sicilian Greeks. One day I may get around to adding them into there. You can also have an additional archer, which will be a 3 bow, or you can choose them to be a sideloy, or you can have a crossbowman, which is a 3 crossbow or a sideloy crossbow. Or you can have, besides the one archer or crossbowman, you could instead have servants, grooms, and peasants, which counts as a 7 horde, or Gascon javelin men, which would be a sideloy or light horse. Um, I do not have uh, I do not have crossbowmen and I do not have the horde unit, the servants, crews, or peasants, although I could easily put those together. I have plenty of horde-like miniatures like that, servants, grooms, peasants, militia, stuff like that, that I could easily base up and do a 7 horde if I ever had the urge to do so. And I do not have the Gascon Javelin Men, which can be Siloy or Light Horse. Instead, I made a Light Horse unit out of Norman figures. So I do have a Light Horse unit, and they're just not the Gascon Javelin Men. So we can go ahead and kind of take a close up here and see what we're looking at. Let me move this slightly. So as you can see, you can't really see them. I know I love the new house I'm in. However, the lighting options, the natural lighting, the unnatural lighting is not the best anyway around. So I need to invest in some good quality filming lights. That way I don't have to go through this with trying to film during the right type of day, open up all the blinds, turn on all the lights in every room surrounding and in the room I'm in. Anyway, let's get down to it. So we have right here, we have our general unit. Let me see if I can get this to focus here. There we go. And that is going to be the general element right there. And he is going to be signified, easy to tell, by a unit that has all black horses. And the general himself has a red cape on. So that way it makes him kind of easy to determine who it is when you're playing, if you're playing a new opponent. So that's going to be the general unit. I do have another special element, and this has a chaplain there in the middle. And the chaplain, this is just a regular knight unit, so there's no difference in between there. He doesn't count as anything. But if I ever wanted to, I could switch up my general element, whatever, and have a different general element there. So that's them. And as you can tell, the painting is not the best of quality. Like I said, these were my first 15mm projects, and I was already aggravated enough at having to get the spears to mount in the hands there. So here is a regular element of knights here, and I have several elements of knights, as you'll be seeing shortly. But I did use shield transfers on these, in case you were wondering. It's been so long, I can't remember who it was. It's a popular company. What is it? Little Big Men, I think, if that's who I'm thinking of. If that's actually a transfer company, I think it is Little Big Men. There's another element of Norman Knights. 3 horse, 3 knights. Go straighten out that pennant. I think they look pretty good. Taking into account the hasty and low quality paint job, but I think the shield transfers and the pennants kind of make up for it. So here is the light horse unit that I was telling you about. Instead of the javelin men, the Gascon Javelin men, I just created a unit of light horse there. And then I have the Breton Cavalry, which are not knights, these are cav units. And instead of Bretons, once again, these are Normans. And another unit of Breton Cavalry. This one, these guys have lances instead. Come on, focus. Not gonna focus. It doesn't like my cav units, my 3 cav. So now we can take a look at my archers. Now it looks like I'm having some trouble getting this thing to focus here. Yeah, the camera has gone out of focus. And I have another one. These guys are unarmored archers. Well, no, it does look like they're armored, a little bit padded armor maybe. Then I have a unit of Siloi in there. And this thing is not focusing now. It's a shame. Maybe not, because the quality isn't all that greatest. And then I have a total of 5 spearman units. Or blade units, I think is, what's the list say? Can be spearmen, and there's a couple blades in there. So that's spearman unit right there. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus. There we go. There's one. And I did a little special element once again with a musician and a standard bearer, just once again to make the army look good. And he has a commander with a great sword there as well. That's the blade unit. Here's another blade unit. And one more blade unit. And finally the last spear unit.